So last week, 2 weeks ago, on Welcome to Wildmount, you continued your journey through the forest on the way to Bisayas Teal. You talked a little bit more to your new companion, Sahar, the half elf, or half orc, sorry, warrior, who just happened to be also wandering in the woods for no particular reason that you can figure out. You ran into some spiders. That was fun. And then you had a relatively uneventful fifth day of travel, spent the night with no trouble, and now the next morning you've only got about an hour or so left before you arrive in the city itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so everyone's up, packing up. Eleni is like excited. She's up probably earlier than she needs to be and is like trying to not wake everyone else. But she's like the sun hasn't even really risen yet and she's packing up. She's ready to head out.
I probably look a little preoccupied.
Yeah, Sahar also looks a little bit nervous, like she just doesn't really know what to expect in the next couple of hours. But she doesn't say anything. She's just helping pack up all the tents and stuff.
According to my notes, this is also the 7th day since we left Rexington.
Okay.
When are you supposed to be back?
We've got a month, or I've got a month.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lots
you
of
have.
time.
I'm supposed to call at least once a week. I haven't done that yet.
That is also true. Yeah. I think it's only been.
We're within a week.
Yeah, we could just call them when we get into town.
I have that this
We
is
are not calling anyone. I'm calling.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you don't. It's a yeah. He has to have a check-in. I think it's only been 6 days. That's what I have anyway. Like this is day 6.
Okay.
So you traveled for 5 full days, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Because it was you left and that was Owlbear Day, and then it was boars, and then it rained a lot, and then it was spiders, and then like chill day. But yeah, you're pretty close, and you know from experience that you're probably gonna start. Maybe you might start like seeing people in the forest if you pay close attention. Like this is about where the local Bisayas Teal Guard, which I did name. What did I name them? The Watchkeepers is what the local guard of Bisayas Teal is called, because I didn't want to just keep calling them the local guard of Bisayas Teal. So yeah, out at this point is kind of where the Watchkeepers like advanced scouting parties start to like really like they go out farther and stuff sometimes, but this is sort of when you will start to see them like regularly, and they generally try to stay hidden, so you might not actually like set eyes on them, but if someone with high enough passive perception might, we'll see.
Okay.
But you kind of know that they're around probably, or they will be soon.
Gotcha.
It'll probably be a little longer before you encounter any Crown's Guard. Because they stick a little closer to the borders, the actual borders of the city.
I will ask Eleni, are we taking you somewhere specific when we get into the city?
Oh, I mean, once we get there, I can find my own way back to my parents' house, but you can come with me if you want.
Kind of look around. Do you want to meet Eleni's parents? Sure, we'll do that.
All right, I'll probably, well,
How we can tell Torkel that you definitely made it.
she laughs. Well, yes, I'll go to their house. I'll probably drop some things off, say hello to them, and then later today I expect I'll go back to talk to my teachers. Start presenting my research or discussing it with them, but yes, my parents' house first. You really don't have to come. If you'd rather go and see your mother right away, I completely understand.
We'll come. We'll come.
All right, so you all have everything packed up and you head into the city or along the road to the city. Is anybody keeping an eye out on the roads in the forest?
Yeah, sure. I'll keep an eye out.
Okay. Roll a perception check.
Okay.
Julie, if you want to not talk, but you want to say something or make a roll or whatever, you can just type it in the chat too.
It's a 14, so I'm perceiving slightly.
Okay. Yeah, how does Antimony feel about this whole? Are you excited to go to Visayas Teal, or are you kind of nervous?
Well, it's kind of a mixture. I think she's not really saying anything about it because nobody else is really talking about it either. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm excited to see Visayas Teal because from what I've heard about the architecture and stuff, it sounds kind of cool. But also, I don't really know how Adakora's mom is going to react to meeting Taino's weird half-human child, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Yeah, you and Adakora haven't really talked about that either, so.
Nope.
Nope. We don't talk about things in this family.
Guess not. Okay, yeah, you don't see anything as you roll on into town. The road gets better maintained, a little bit wider the closer you get. But yeah, you can't see anyone out in the woods. If there are people watching, you have no idea. And then after another hour or so, you see basically like a little guardhouse on the side of the road. The road gets wider, and you can see there's sort of a clearing beyond it, but there's just like a little outpost here, and it has like the symbol of the Crown's Guard on the outside. It's just kind of a little. It's clearly just a little outpost along the road.
Would I know if we have to like? Is it like a toll where we have to stop and say hi, or?
No, probably not. You think that you've been through here before, and you know it's mostly like they'll watch you as you go past. Like there's not travel in and out of Visayas Teal isn't like super controlled, mostly because they don't get a lot of travelers. But
Right.
if you look like really shady, they might stop you. They're just kind of keeping an eye on the road.
I wave as unshadily as I know how to.
Okay, yeah, there's a couple guards hanging around. One of them is like standing outside of the door to the guardhouse, like eating an apple, looking super bored. There's somebody up in a little watchtower who waves back to you and just kind of like makes a motion saying that you can move along.
It's kind of rude. We're already on our fucking way. He's just like, yeah, whatever, go ahead. We don't need your fucking permission.
We do actually.
No.
We very much do.
What are they gonna do? Stop us?
Yes.
Ask to see all of our items, which may or may not hide illegal shit.
You don't still have those fireworks, do you? We set those fireworks off, right?
I think we did, yeah.
Okay, then we're good.
Yeah, and you guys don't look like you're carrying, things. Like it's just a cart full of people.
And tents.
Yeah, camping equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eleni kind of waves back too, looking pretty calm about the whole thing. Sahar has, as you approached, kind of like rearranged her gear. She has this big cloak that she's wearing. It's just like a plain dark cloak, and she gets her shield, and she sort of straps it onto her back, and then she puts the cloak on over the shield, and has like her hood up, and is just kind of sitting. Oh my god. I can't stop laughing. You look so menacing. Wow, okay. That's terrifying. But yeah, she's kind of hunched up in the back of the cart with her hood up, looking a little morose. But yeah, you keep going into the forest. There start to be more like cleared out areas the farther you go. You see some little outbuildings. The road gets a little bit wider, and it's probably starts to be like paved at one point. Even like there are some stones.
The horses are like, thank God, finally.
Yeah. And then you kind of emerge into what looks, it's almost like a regular Dwendalian town. The architecture is a little different. The building materials are a little different. Really, everything is made of wood, which, depending on what city you're in and what part of what city you're in, is not really true throughout the Empire. Like they use stone for building materials a lot and things like that. But yeah, pretty much everything is made of wood. There are more Crownsguard out here. There's what looks like a big sort of like a much larger barracks and a training area. But there are also clearly just people living out here. you see some shops, a couple of inns as you drive through. You see some like craftspeople's workshops. Yeah, and it kind of looks like a little mini town that could be somewhere else in the Zemi fields, except that the architecture is a slightly different flavor, and there are elves around, but there are lots of other people as well. I should have showed this on this. And people do kind of look at you as you roll by, not like suspiciously or anything, but with, different levels of interest. Kind of, it seems like they probably don't get a ton of people coming through here. So people just sort of observe you and then go back to whatever they were doing. Like a momentary diversion of mild interest. That's not the page I'm And yeah, this part of the city there are still trees around. Like there are a lot of trees along the road and in and among the buildings. But there are also like large cleared areas. And the buildings themselves are all, pretty small. You see some temples, a couple of like small temples and shrines to various approved gods. And then as you go farther, you start to come into a more unfamiliar, to some of you, not Adakora, looking environment. The trees start to close in again a little bit. It's still not quite as dense as like the pure forest that you were traveling through when you were on the road. But there are more trees and they start to get bigger and taller. And you start to see buildings like built around the bases of trees. And some of those buildings have like little passages built along the outside of the trees that lead up. And as you go in, you can kind of see this like the beginnings of this dual layer city that has buildings at the bases of trees and around them, and then things that go up. Sometimes they sort of disappear into the canopy too, and you can see a little bit of the structures that's up there, but not everything. You just get sort of glimpses of it. And the architecture changes here a little bit too. It's really all wooden except for the streets, which are paved with stone. And everything is a little bit more like organic in its feel. There's a lot of arches, there's a lot of curved lines. The buildings are sort of built around the plants rather than like the plants having been removed to make way for the buildings. And yeah, as you go here, you start to see it's pretty much all elves, which is not an environment that most of you have ever been in. Because there aren't really any other cities in the Empire that have a majority or even like close to a majority elven population.
Yeah.
And it's similar, like there's, you see houses, you see large sort of buildings that look like they're community gathering places. You see shops and workshops and things like that, and all the signage is in Elvish, which you can all read, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah.
it's not an issue. But people do like definitely look at you a little bit more. once you get into this part of the city.
If I just keep my hood up, then they can't tell that I don't have pointy ears, so I blend in perfectly.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, you don't. I mean, there are a lot of elves. Like the two people sitting at the front of the cart. If Adakor is the one driving, Eleni's probably sitting up there. You guys are both elves, so like, no one's like super shocked or anything. And like, there are non-elves living around here, obviously. But just the fact that there's like new people coming in is kind of interesting. Like, they just don't get a ton of travelers. But you know, people are going about their business. They just kind of look at you and then stare for a second and then move on.
And it all looks pretty normal to me, I'm assuming.
Yep. Yeah, nothing looks too different. There are Crown's Guard patrolling here as well as watchkeepers, but in a fairly normal amount to what you're used to.
Towards the two elves, I guess I'll be like, are people like generally polite here?
Like you?
What? I don't know. Are they just like, are they polite? Like, if I had all these like arches and shit here, like at home, I'm pretty sure people would get like shit on their head. Just like from the overhead bridges. And I get the feeling that that's not the case here.
We have sewage here. Do we have sewage? I assume.
I would imagine so.
We're an advanced society, damn it.
Obviously, well, there's sewage in most places. It's just like some people are dicks. Maybe it's not shit. Maybe it's just like dirt, mud, or I don't
Someone
know,
just
leftover
kicks the mud
food.
off their shoes.
You can meet assholes anywhere. We're not uniquely free of assholes, but you don't see a lot of shit on the streets.
Interesting. Do people like? Is there like a specific area where people live, or is it all like mixed together?
Are you asking me that or
I don't know. Either of you,
Adakor?
whoever
Okay.
knows.
Yeah, I guess that would be me.
Ideally Adakora, but like sometimes DM interference
No,
can
I
help.
I would know, but I don't remember
It's
it specifically being mentioned in the remake.
It's not. I don't think. I think it's not really. It doesn't function the way other Empire cities do, where there are like specific quarters of the city for like Rexentrum has all these different neighborhoods that are like divided by wealth or like shopping or whatever. And yeah, Besace-Teal is not really like that. It's first and foremost a settlement, and that's kind of how it grew up. And in its early days, they didn't really have commerce like it was just among themselves. They didn't have people coming in and like trading with them or anything. It was just sort of a group of people living there, and that was all they were doing. So yeah, everything's kind of mixed in all together. There is a part of the city that has like it's probably in the center is where like the hall is where the government meets and stuff like that takes place. And that probably has some like probably like the big schools, and there are some big lecture halls in that area. It's like sort of a community building area basically. There was probably a temple, several temples there that have been repurposed, but used to be for like Melora and Coralon and Sehanin. But they're now used as like meeting places or lecture halls or something like that. But other than that area, everything is kind of mixed in with each other. And you can also, I guess you're not walking, but you can kind of tell it's a little bit warmer in here as you head down the road. And you can kind of feel that there is like some warmth coming from the paved stones on the road, as if they were enchanted a little bit. So there's just a little bit more magic
Are we like,
around.
yeah, are we like going slow enough to be also walking? I don't know.
If you want to be.
'Cause I'll like jump out and test this mysterious melting pavement.
Yeah, it's not like we're speed racing.
Yeah.
You're not. I imagine you're going pretty sedately at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, the stones do give off a little bit of warmth. It feels nice.
I'll like let the cart go ahead and like take off my gloves and just like plant my hands on the ground.
It's like seat warmers in a car.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, exactly. For your feet as you walk through the streets. Yeah, Eleni looks back at you and just kind of laughs. It's nice, isn't it?
It's been cold for like 3 fucking days. And finally, why don't any of us have warmth spells? This seems like an oversight on our part.
Well, it's only going to get colder, but at least the streets, the snow melts pretty quickly on them, so that's nice.
It's gonna get colder. Ugh.
It gets colder than this in Rexentrum too. Like,
Yeah,
it's
but it
not
still
quite
sucks.
cold enough to snow. Oh, but it's very beautiful when it snows here. The trees are just covered in it.
Is there like snow on the sides?
Of the roads?
Mm-hmm. Like right now?
No. Oh, not right now. No, it hasn't snowed yet.
I'll go catch back up, I suppose.
Okay. I assumed you guys like kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't just
Leave it without her.
keep
Yeah, just go
driving.
on ahead. I'll just
Okay,
like
yeah.
leapfrog my way to follow the cart.
Okay. So yeah, you guys, Eleni starts to just sort of give you directions. Oh. Give you directions as you get farther into the town. The roads are they're pretty winding just because like they go sort of around the tree roots and things like that. Like it's pretty clear that this was constructed around the trees rather than like area was cleared to make this into a straight line. So it's kind of a meandering journey. But yeah, it's very beautiful here, and for those of you who have not been here before, you haven't really seen anything like it.
Yes. I'm very intrigued. What's the what's the enchantment that's on the roads? I suppose that's more at Eleni because she probably knows more than Adakora. I don't think Adakora knows how to do magic.
Neither does Eleni.
Not a
Oh,
shred.
well,
Not a
Eleni might know more.
Yeah.
No spells.
She just kind of shrugs, like, I think it was enchanted a long time ago when they first built the roads.
Huh.
It has to be renewed every few decades or so, but it's fairly simple. I think the complicated part was actually binding it to all of the stones. That's what took the longest, I imagine.
It's bound to every stone?
Yes, in every stone in the road.
Wow.
They don't just
A lot
have
of
like a
stones.
blanket one that like lays over all the stones, or like they have to do it individually for each stone?
I think they do.
I guess it can't take that long considering how long you guys live. Even if
I
it takes like a
suppose-
week, you guys are like, whatever. That's like 2 days.
She's she looks a little confused at that.
Again, we don't perceive time as if it's going faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but eventually doesn't the past like all shrink up and it seems fast anyway? Like in 2 months you're like, wow, that was so short. I'm still so young, but that was a long time ago.
I mean, do you visibly age do you feel older between 1 month and the next?
I
Eleni's
feel
like genuinely curious, like she does not know how humans perceive time.
I feel it very distinctly. Every month I just feel more ancient, and eventually my bones will break and I'll dissolve into nothingness and become food for the plants. And then be reborn again or whatever, and then that'll take ages again.
I thought humans lived 80 to 100 years. Is that correct? She's kind of like looking around at everyone like, do humans live a lot shorter than I thought? Like, is a month a big deal for them?
That's what happens in a month. Like, is it January 2021? Yeah, you feel it.
I mean, I guess.
Honestly, Adakura is like shrugging.
He doesn't actually know
He
that.
doesn't really know how you perceive time.
She stares at Antimony too, like, help me.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I have like 200 years to go, maybe, but I don't really feel older every month. Every year, though, maybe.
I can't believe I exist with a group of people who take my words literally every time I say something.
Eleni doesn't know you that well.
If it helps, I only take you seriously when it's funny.
That's true.
Oh, are you amused right now?
I don't say.
Sahar like looks out from under her hood and like says something for the first time since you guys have entered the city pretty much, and she's just fucking with you. A month is a month. You don't really feel any different at the end of it.
Thank you.
Eleni looks kind of relieved.
Wow, it only took Sahar like 2 days to become used to my sense of humor.
Were you hoping for more mileage?
No, I was gonna give it up, but then it got stolen away from me. Thanks, Sahar.
Sahara's like, you're welcome.
Ophelia's like begrudgingly amused. She doesn't want Sahar to be funny, but it was kind of funny.
Elenia's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, the road was all built before I was born, so I don't really know exactly how long it took them, but I know they do have to renew the enchantments every 10 years or so, but I don't think they do it on the same sections at the same times. It's sort of,
I
it
guess
doesn't
that,
all wear out at
yeah.
the same time.
that would be a lot of work, I suppose.
Enchanting the stone couldn't take that much longer than shoveling it.
Right, I mean, they had to dig it up from somewhere and bring it all the way here. That must have taken. I mean, we don't have a lot of quarries around here, or really any, I don't think.
If you want, you can take a civil engineering class while you're here and ask them.
Me?
Yeah, just go to the lecture hall.
Where's the lecture hall?
Is it nearby?
There's several of them kind of throughout the city. Some of the biggest ones are in that like central area, which you guys are coming closer to. But you and you know those, I'm gonna say, because this is a cool idea, I think. The three in the center are they are all repurposed temples. Because when the Empire came in, they were like, yeah, you can't have these temples to these three gods that you like the best out in the open. And they were like, fine, I guess. And they turned them all into, like they're attached to. They don't really have a formal university in Besaya's Teal, but there's kind of a network of like research and libraries and like scholarly pursuits. And yeah, anyone is welcome to study pretty much whatever they want here. There's no like payment involved or anything. And there are also a number of a lot of that like school infrastructure is actually in the above ground layer. Because more people actually live on the ground just because it's easier and it's like closer to food and water sources and things like that. But yeah, up above is like where a lot of like the learning takes place, and there are some libraries and galleries and things up there that are very cool.
Do I like have to actually go with you guys to do whatever you're doing, or can I just go to wherever there's lectures and chill out there? Like, how much do you want me to meet your family and also your mom?
I mean, we're going to be staying here for a few days, so you're going to meet her.
Well, not necessarily. What if I just find an inn somewhere, I sleep, and then I go to the halls, and then I sleep, and then I go to the halls? Like, who really needs to socialize, right?
I'm not paying for an inn when I could just stay with my mom.
Oh, that's a fair point. Okay. I guess it's inevitable then.
Melidor is lucky that he didn't live closely enough to like bring his laundry over every week during college.
God.
God. Man, he would have done that too.
You would have, yeah.
God. Yeah, Taito and Cassia are also lucky that he didn't live close enough to them.
A whole day's journey to do your laundry. Not really.
Yep. I'm sure the university has like people who do the laundry though, because they don't have washing machines, so
Yeah.
someone's got to be doing the laundry. But yeah, I think you guys are gonna pass through the central area as you head to Eleni's home. And yeah, there is sort of a big. This is like the largest cleared area you've seen. It's basically a big stone square. You see these 3 buildings that you can tell from the architecture that they maybe used to be temples, like kind of the iconography like carved into the buildings sort of fits with these 3 gods, which of course you've all heard of and you at least know like the basics of them. But yeah, Melora has like tree imagery on her building, and there are like some spirals worked into it and waves and all sorts of plants. It's like very intricately decorated. And then is Coralon? I feel like Coralon's a sun deity of some kind. But yeah, Sehanin has like moon imagery. Oh no, Coralon also has moon stuff going on. Coralon is the god of, okay, light and magic. But yeah, there's kind of the like 4 pointed star symbol of Coralon, the Archheart, in one of the buildings. But yeah, Lenny points these out and like says that they're all lecture halls. And then you see somewhere that Adakor you hung around a lot as a kid. There's the headquarters of the Watchkeepers.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could see a little bit deeper into the forest, like off the roads. There's a big cleared sort of training area. Where you definitely spent some afternoons just like watching people practice, watching your mom teach new guards archery and stuff like that. Sometimes they would set up a little target for you to just throw knives at or shoot at. If you looked closer, you might see people you know or that you recognize, but I don't know how eager you are to like look for familiar faces.
Yeah, I'll look. I want to see.
Okay.
Recognize? Sure.
Yeah, make a perception check. I don't have a ton of names, so I'm not going to make up a ton of NPCs.
All right, here we go.
You might you'll see some familiar faces probably.
Okay. 19. That's pretty good.
All right. Yeah, you see. Yeah, there are definitely people in there that you don't recognize, who probably joined after you left. But you see a couple of veterans, people are friends with your mother, hanging around. Yeah, it's kind of weird. They all basically look the same. which, is, I mean, that's normal for elves, but it's like, it still
Yeah.
feels a little strange because you haven't been here in so long and you've spent so much time living among humans, like you're kind of used to seeing people change now,
Yeah.
or humans of
It
other,
heightens the I went
other
away and I
people
came
who,
back and everything's exactly the same weirdness.
it's, yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, you notice them sort of talking in small groups. Um, you see people practicing in the practice yard, stuff like that.
Do any of them seem to recognize me?
I don't know that they're paying much attention, but I can
I'm
roll
not
something.
purposely drawing attention. I'm
Okay, that's what. Yeah, are you kind of trying to?
no.
Okay.
But we're in a cart and we're
Yeah,
you
you're in
know.
a cart. Yeah, I think it's like a little setback too. Like you're not necessarily passing right next to the building or the training area either, so they probably can't see you super clearly. But I'll just roll something. Yeah, you can't really tell. You see some of them sort of glance at your cart, but you don't see recognition in any of their faces.
Okay.
Okay. And you also see the sort of governing center of the Steel. You see like the council building, which is where the ruling council, the Ring of Three, meets, where they like address the people of the city. Although they probably do that mostly outside. There's probably like an outdoor like sort of permanent like podium area outside the council building where they could address the entire city. And they definitely, I mean, there's definitely other like other people involved in the running of the city who aren't the council. So that's just, yeah, that's just kind of like the city government building. And you do know also that um the the starosta of the city, um he and his council have another building. It's kind of in the newer area near the outskirts, like they built their own, there's a name for it, I don't remember what it is, but I think there's a name for like where the starosta lives.
Mm.
um, I'll look it up. But he also like has like an office in this building too, and like spends a bunch of his time here because he has to, communicate a lot with the council, the Elven Council.
Yeah.
And yeah, in here also there's a ton of stuff above. Like all of these buildings are attached to staircases that go up and lead to other buildings that, probably have similar functions.
It's still pretty early in the day.
Yeah, it's probably like 9 in the morning.
Is anyone serving breakfast? Where are shops for food?
That's a good question. I think not here. I think they're more on the outskirts.
Hmm. Like the outskirts we already passed through?
Yeah, in terms
Okay.
of like restaurants at least. Like, because the people who live in here like don't really go to restaurants.
Right. Should have thought of that sooner.
Yeah, there are some
we have
inns.
travel
There's some. Yeah, you do have travel food. You also could just go to your mom's place and be like, "Hey, can I have some food? Hello, mom. Please feed me." I want breakfast.
I do want breakfast, but I also want my friends to be my friends and my sister to be able to experience.
Yep. Well, you were still just, dropping Eleni off at her parents' place,
Yeah.
so you can kind of do whatever you want after that.
There will be time, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, you keep going through the central square and back into a more sort of residential area.
I'll like point out the major buildings as we pass them, but like the ones that I've forgotten, I just make it up. And I know Aleti's gonna know, but if you have to help me out, then
Okay. Eleni's not gonna if you like just do it, she's just gonna kind of look at you like amused and not say anything.
good sport. Good sport.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
But yeah,
take notes.
Okay. Writing down the wrong stuff that Adakora tells you.
A lot of it's
Yeah.
the right stuff, but some of
Okay.
it's the wrong stuff.
Tell me one thing that you make up.
What would be a fun thing to make up? That at the podium outside the council building is where they do like citywide karaoke on holidays.
Yes. Yes. I mean, honestly, the elves probably do have like music festivals, although not here. They're probably different. They have like some concert halls and shit. And it's probably less karaoke and more like large group singing events. But yeah, something similar does happen, just not here.
Yeah.
But there are also more people sort of walking around in this area than there were in some of the other spots. So you get some stares. Eleni probably waves at a few people that she knows, but nobody that she knows well enough to like stop and try to talk to them,
Right.
which is good because that might take a while if Eleni stops to talk to someone. But yeah, okay, so you come out onto the other side of the square and you keep going through more little winding roads. And yeah, eventually you come to a little very typical sort of Viseis Teal dwelling. That Eleni stops you and she's like, well, this is it.
So it is. Well, it was a pleasure escorting you.
Thanks very much for not letting me get killed by owlbears or spiders. Or
Yeah.
wild boars.
I'm glad you didn't die. Yeah.
She laughs. Thanks.
Success all around.
Yeah, she gets out, she gathers all of her stuff. And yeah, she'll just head inside if you guys don't seem like you want to come in with her. Oh yeah, but then she walks a little ways like towards the front of the door and then she says, oh, if you want, if while you're here, I know you have other things you'd like to do, but if you want, I can show you around. some of the school areas, some of the libraries if you're interested. She looks at Ophelia.
I will go. I volunteer.
All right, I'll probably be busy today, but if you want to come by here any time tomorrow, either I'll be here or someone can tell you where to find me.
Okay.
All right, she waves and she carries all of her stuff inside.
I stare at Ophelia, trying to decide if she would rather see the city with Lenny than me.
What?
Nothing.
That was way too, like, inflected to be nothing. Sahar, do you want to be dropped off anywhere?
Sahar kind of is a little bit startled. Surprised that anybody's talking to her. She's like, not in particular.
Do you have, like, a destination? Are you just hoping to, like, hang with us until the end of time? Or, like...
Let's put it this way. Do you want to stay at my mom's house while we're here? Or do you want to find an inn?
I wouldn't want to impose. Does your mother have room for 4 extra people?
Does she? That's a great question. My mom doesn't know I'm coming.
She sure does not. She has no idea. And also you haven't been here in I think it's like 8 to 10 years ish. So you know where your mom was living the last time you were here. You just kind of hope that that's still where she's living. People don't move a whole lot in Besae Seal, so she's probably still there. But you're like, well, hopefully I'll just go to her house and she's still there.
Trusting to luck, as usual.
Yep.
Boy.
Just playing it by ear. The Atacora story. I think you guys probably have a nice home. It's probably got 2 stories, which is kind of cool. There's a bottom, a floor level story, and then there's a little, and this is pretty typical for houses depending on where they are and how many people live in them. But it's got a little staircase that goes up into a tree portion of the house too. And the downstairs area was where people ate and spent a lot of their time. And then the upstairs area, there was extra sleeping space, and then there was also your dad had kind of a little office up there. He would do his writing up in the tree.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely at least an extra sleeping area, and you could probably all just camp out in there. But you don't really know if your mom is storing stuff there, if she has extra beds. You're not really sure. She has at least one extra place for you to sleep when you visit, but she didn't know you were coming.
No. I say confidently, it'll be fine.
Okay. Sahar nods. I mean, if she doesn't mind, I'm a little bit short on money at the moment.
Yeah, sure. It's a party. Just what my mom likes, a surprise party.
Are you excited to be seeing your mom again?
Sure.
Was that genuine?
Make an insight check.
Do I believe that cheery and very truthful statement? I think I have +6, so that's... No, I don't think I have +6. I do have +6, so 9.
Okay. I mean, you're not. Atacor's not exactly lying, so
It seems sincere.
it seems sincere. Yeah. I'm not gonna have you roll because you're not. It's not really a lie, but
Not really a lie.
you don't. You don't really detect any misgivings, Ophelia.
It feels like it should be a lie, because who would want to see their parents?
Oh my god, that's so depressing. It's so... but yeah, you can head over to where you remember the house being, and it's the same house that you grew up in. Like, she still lives in the place where she lived with you and Taito, so it's very familiar.
Is she like... Never mind.
What?
Nothing.
What?
No.
What were
Nothing.
you gonna say?
Nah. I don't know. Nothing important.
Okay.
Eye her suspiciously.
I was just... Yeah, no, never mind. You know what? Fuck you. Mind your own business.
My, you're gonna ask me a question about my mom.
Yeah, and I decided against it. So what?
How's Antimony looking?
Great. Like, I'm looking at the architecture.
I missed the beginning of that. You were kind of cutting out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just kind of paying a lot of attention to the architecture.
Yeah. The architecture is incredible. You've never seen anything like it.
It's very good.
Yeah.
The perfect distraction from
Yep,
everything that's going on right now.
pretty much. Okay, so yeah, do you head in the direction of Atakora's childhood home? Since
Well, we're not
I
rush.
decided that you're driving, Atakora. I assigned this to you.
Yeah. I
earlier,
think.
so
Yeah, I've been
because you're the only one who knows your way around.
sort of. Yeah.
Anyone else would just get lost in here, so God. Oh my god. ugh, I like do have a fan cast for Atakora's mom, which I will send to you all when we meet her.
Exciting.
I'll post it. I'll post it in the chat.
Oh, elves. Elves, elves, elves.
Okay, so you amble along in your cart.
Yeah, I was gonna
You
say,
can-
we're not in a rush. If we wanted to get a better breakfast or wander around a little more,
I would
Happy
like
to wander
breakfast.
around.
Yes.
I look at Sahar.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to something other than travel rations.
Cool. So we amble in a food word direction.
Okay.
Is there a place like I don't think my mom has a staple. So at least we're gonna have to find a place to keep the horses.
Yeah, I don't think Visayas Teal is a very horse reliant society because horses don't do super well in like, thick forest.
Yeah.
So your average person probably does not own horses. There are probably some other, farm animals, but they're mostly like for food or milk or egg. Like people probably have like chickens and cows and stuff just for, food purposes, but they don't use animals for transportation as much. Um, yeah, your mom definitely does not own a horse. But as you came in the sort of like mini Dwendalian town area, there were definitely some like inns that look like they could have been in any other town and they had stables attached and stuff. So you could for sure go to one of those.
Should ditch the stuff when we came inside. But then Eleni would have had to carry all her stuff, so I guess that would have been annoying. Yeah, so I want to ditch the cart, or at least the horses. once we ditch the horses, I guess we also ditch the cart.
Yeah, unless you want to pull the cart yourself.
I don't. What's Sahar's strength? She's
It's pretty good, though. Oh, for sure. 18.
Wow, we have a tank.
She big.
That's double mine.
Oh my, is it really?
Yeah,
Your strength is 9? Oh my
I have
God,
9
forgot.
strength.
Right. Wow.
I think all of us
Yeah.
have like -1 mod strength. It's
Holy
ridiculous.
shit.
I am lean and
Yeah.
flexible.
That's true. Yeah, you're tall. You and Sahara are like funny next to each other because you're taller than her probably. She's like around 6 foot, I think. Atacor is over 6 foot, right? I feel like
I think so. He might be. I might have said he's just 6 foot. So
okay. She's pretty close to his height, but like just like mostly muscle. Yeah, she is brawny is a good word to describe Sahar. I don't know that she would be super interested in pulling this cart though.
yeah. So looking for a place to ditch the cart and the horses.
Okay, so you ride back through kind of the way you came back to the outskirts. You do see the whole way, the whole time that you're going through, you see sort of the odd Crown's Guard. It does seem a little different to you at this point. Like as you drive through the more residential areas, there are kind of more Crown's Guard than you remember being there in those particular spots. They kind of tended to stick closer to like the central area of town and then like the outer area. but they don't seem, they're just kind of hanging around patrolling. They're not like doing anything in particular. There just are more of them in these areas. But yeah, you head back into the more cleared out like outskirts area, and you see there's a couple of different taverns. There are a few that seem like specifically designed for like outside travelers or for like the non elven or non native inhabitants of the city. And there is a tavern that's like a little bit more elvish in design, and like the signage is in elvish. It looks like somewhere that maybe locals would come hang out, or even like traveling elves or something. So you have some options, but all the inns have stables attached to them, I think. And there are some like other shops out here, some like general store kind of things. And probably a few people selling street food, but that's not as big here, especially because it's cold.
Yeah. Not into food carts.
Yeah. And yeah, notably, this part of the city does not have the enchantments on it.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a paved stone road, but it's constructed a little differently. Like you can tell it was built later and by different people, and maybe out of slightly different materials. And yeah, it's in great shape as roads go, but it's not enchanted.
Interesting.
And yeah, this area there's elves around, and there's a pretty high concentration of humans. That's kind of the largest non-elven group in the city. But you also see like pretty much every other, race that lives in the Dwendalian Empire. Like you see gnomes and halflings and a few dwarves and some half orcs and maybe like one tiefling.
Yeah.
There's half elves too. Yeah, where would you like to go eat?
What are our options?
Oh God, I should have come up. Why didn't I come up with names for the inns? I'm very terrible at this. Okay, yeah. So you you see three inns that look like they would take, like that they have rooms for rent. There's probably some other places that are just like places to get food or drinks. Um, but the three that you see, one of them is a little bit more. One of them is like more rundown than the other, but they're both very like typical Dwendalian looking inns. Some they're kind of constructed similar to anything you might see in the Zemi fields, which is where you guys have spent most of your time, in Gryffindor, Rex, and Trum. And yeah, basically the difference is like one of them looks more expensive than the other one. And then there's a third that's got it's a little bit more like hybrid construction. The construction's a little bit more elven. The sign outside is in Elvish. And you think maybe it's meant to attract possibly a local or like traveling elven clientele. It's hard to tell from the outside, but that's kind of your impression.
feeling?
I didn't hear the beginning of that, sorry.
How fancy are we feeling?
Looks down at dirty travel clothes. What kind of food do you want to eat?
Bread.
Bread is a whole food group.
Yes.
Okay, and I totally missed this because I didn't read the entry as closely as I should have, I guess. But there is also a tall wooden wall around the ground area of the city, and this sort of newer area is like built outside of it.
Okay.
Just for like visual reference. Sorry, I just looked at the chat. Lembas bread. And I don't think the walls are, they don't have like battlements or anything. I don't think it's just kind of a protective wall and like the outside is guarded.
The original twink.
I mean, that's probably pretty fair too.
The original twink with his original Twinkie.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. The walls probably have a gate too, but it doesn't look like it's closed ever really because there's all these buildings around it. But it's definitely like guarded. Like you see, Crowds Guard and watchkeepers and stuff around.
Mhm.
It's definitely the biggest concentration of guards you've seen yet is in this sort of gate outer wall area. Okay, while you guys decide, I'm gonna eat a snack because I'm hungry.
Should we go to the fanciest restaurant?
What I'm debating here is whether we want to get some elven food or if we want to like not have like elven in food and wait until we can make my mom make make us some
Yeah,
food. And that's
true.
like the real Passaic Teal experience.
You're gonna put your mom to work the moment you arrive?
Arrive in the house and just like,
No, we're
Mom,
eating
get
now,
food.
aren't we? It's gonna be hours before the next mealtime. If we arrive without having eaten, that would be rude.
So you were saying you can't decide whether to have something elvish or not elvish before you go to your mom's and then have something elvish?
It's like, is this going to be disappointing elven food. I just don't know.
If it's fancy, then isn't it supposed to be good or whatever?
Is the elfish and fancy? Isn't like it's like two Dwendalian looking ones.
Yeah, none of them look
The other.
fancy necessarily. Like, there's one that looks like basic and like kind of a dive, and then there's one that looks a little bit more high end and pleasant, but like definitely affordable. You know, like it's not the pillow trove or whatever. And then the elf one is probably on the nicer side.
Let's just go to the pleasant family restaurant, the middle option.
Friendly.
All right, let's go.
Wait, okay, which one are you going to? I'm sorry.
The nice one.
The nice Dwendalian one, or because the elven one is like fairly nice looking too. Like, it doesn't look shitty, but none of them are fancy, you know.
Right.
You want to go to the nicer Dwendalian one?
Oh, I think that was our decision eventually.
Cool. Sorry, I'm eating some chips.
It's just as stressful as choosing a restaurant in real life.
God. God, I always do this on weekends. I eat breakfast too late, and then I don't eat lunch at a normal time, and then it's like 3 o'clock and I'm starving. I'm gonna eat one more chip. Okay, sorry, I'm back. All right, so you head into this inn. It's very just sort of like cute and cozy. The construction style is very Zemnian. And a lot of Zemnian buildings are wooden too, especially in, you know, places like Blumenthal. It reminds you a little of Blumenthal. And it is called the Pine Bough.
Cool.
But yeah, they have a stable. You can put your horses and your cart there. And then there's a big, inviting dining room area. It's not super crowded right now because it's pretty early in the morning, but there are a few people in here. Mostly not elves, mostly humans, and a couple of other, like a halfling, a dwarf. And they look like they're maybe merchants. Some of them, they're wearing kind of traveling clothes. They're just chatting and enjoying a late breakfast.
We will also get a late breakfast.
All right. Are you just getting food? Or are you trying to? I guess you can just carry all of your stuff with you. You probably have to leave the tents with the cart, maybe. But
Yeah. Like our normal stuff.
right, you're just
Carry
carrying.
anyway.
So you probably have to pay like a little fee to store the carts and the cart and the horses here because you're not getting rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can do that and then you can order some food. And yeah, it's good. It is hearty and Zenian.
Is there bread?
Oh yeah.
Good bread.
Hell yeah.
Yep, it's like sourdough.
Mm.
Very fresh.
I steal Adakara's.
No.
I'll trade bacon for it.
That's acceptable.
Then I'll try to steal the bacon.
Go ahead and try.
Yeah, make a sleight of hand check.
Okay. 7 plus something. Where's my sleight of hand? 8. Hell yeah.
Are you trying to be sneaky or are you trying to be like fast and just snatch it in full view?
Just like nonchalantly taking it while he's not looking.
Okay, so you're trying to be sneaky. So what, you rolled an 8?
Yeah.
All right. Adakor, make a perception check.
My passive is over an 8.
I know. I just want to see what you roll.
God, 6.
God. Okay, I think I am gonna use your passive just because you're like on guard because she already tried to steal some of your shit. I just wanted to see if you would roll well. But yeah, you notice her hand like creeping up towards the plate.
I grab her wrist.
Are you sure you're not gonna, like, are you sure you're gonna eat it? I mean, you're small, you don't need that much to eat.
I'm taller than you, but apparently you're all stomach.
Yeah, that's because I'm huge in personality, and so I need a suitable amount of food to suffice for that. Your personality is like a tiny blade of grass, and so obviously you don't need this bacon.
I just keep holding her wrist and I eat the bacon.
God. While this is going on, Sahar has been very quiet. She was kind of like shoveling down her food. She seems pretty hungry. But while you guys are bickering, she leans. Intimity's like sitting next to her, and she leans over and is like, "Are they always like this? I kind of thought they were just grumpy from traveling, but
Regular.
sorry, I can't hear you, Izzy."
It's a regular thing.
Okay. She keeps eating.
Alright, I guess you've won. Your bacon is eaten. There's nothing else on your plate that interests me, except maybe a few things. Are you gonna let go? Or like what?
No.
What the fuck? I...
Give her a biscuit off my plate. I put it on her plate.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I don't let go of her wrist.
What the fuck? I'll just let it sit there, I guess, and eat with my other hand. And when he's not
Okay, yeah.
expecting it,
Oh.
I'll rip it out.
Okay. Okay, make an opposed athletics check. Unless you're just gonna let go of her wrist.
Which
in which
one's
case it's
athletics?
fine.
Adakara has a -1 and I have a 0. Let's go.
Wow.
Is this like a contested? Is it
yeah.
strength? What's the
Athletics. So that's strength, and then if you're proficient in the athletic skill, you get your proficiency bonus.
I'm not, so.
I didn't think you were. Somehow.
That's cocked. Which is annoying because it was almost a 20. Okay. What did you get?
10.
18.
Oh my god.
Oh. Okay, yeah, if you want to keep holding onto her wrist, you can. You can also just let go. It's up to you. But she cannot break out.
No, I'm sticking to this bit for a while. I'm gonna see how it works out.
Okay. Sahara's looking increasingly like a little bit unnerved, but is not saying anything about it. She's just like, okay, they're weird. That's the vibe she's giving off.
Are you like proud of yourself?
Four?
For this, I like wave the wrist.
Not
Does this,
particularly.
does this bring you satisfaction?
Clever.
What?
I'm neutral. It's a neutral. On the pride shame spectrum.
Then
On the annoying Ophelia spectrum, it's like it's way down there.
way down there, so it's not.
Way on the side of annoying you.
Oh. And that's not at all correlative to how proud or ashamed you're feeling right now.
Not really.
All right. Antimony, do you want to go do the thing with Eleni tomorrow too? Go see the interesting information stuff?
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? I'm sure they've got all kinds of things here. I mean, elves live so long. They must have something to show for it, right?
There's probably so much information. And I think that's like kind of our goal anyway. Aren't we supposed to like be friends with elves and stuff and go learn things?
Well, I think that's what the Cobalt Soul would want, yeah.
I don't necessarily care what they want, I suppose. I just want to learn what they have. I guess we could have asked Eleni about all this while we were traveling, but
I mean, we were kind of busy getting attacked by
that's true.
owl bears and spiders, and also wild boars.
That was pretty dangerous. Maybe... I don't know, do we have to take the cart back? Because if not, then we could just, like, ditch it.
I think the soul wants us to bring the cart back.
I guess that makes sense.
We have to bring the horses back for sure, I think. But
The only reason I remember that is because I was like, I remember going, if the road's too difficult, we can just ditch the cart, and Torkel didn't like that. While I'm talking, I'm gesturing with Ophelia's hand.
Oh my god.
This is the worst. I'm ignoring him. Well, I guess so. Hopefully, going back, we won't nearly die again. That was kind of spooky. I don't think I nearly died. Well, I guess I did. Not as close as you, though.
just the life of an adventurer. Hilda voice.
You seem like really calm about it.
Well, I'm repressing it. It's fine.
That seems a little on the nose to me, but I don't say anything. When my food is gone, I will let go of Ophelia's hand.
Only when the food is gone.
My food's gone.
Okay. Yeah, Sahar like finishes eating before everyone else because she's not really saying anything and she ate kind of quickly, but she just sort of like sits and absorbs this entire interaction. So, if you're done eating, you can do whatever else you would like to do.
Valid.
Yeah. So are you guys gonna head to Melidora's house? You gonna try to look at some other stuff?
I guess we'll head toward my mom's house.
All right.
We all say, gritting our teeth.
We're on foot now. We're on foot now.
When the
Jeff?
DM has to like gently shove you. Towards doing something other than sitting at the inn.
I feel like we in character are just sitting at the inn and like for an uncomfortably long amount of time.
For sure. Yeah, Sahara is getting fidgety. She like does not say anything because she's trying not to draw attention to the fact that she like doesn't have a reason to be here. But she's fidgeting.
I would love to be in a city where I didn't have a reason to be there. I could just walk around, do nothing, sit in a garden. I miss going places.
God, same. But yeah, when you guys do finally when you get Sahar wearing red, like yeah, when you guys sit out, she like jumps at like she's fucking ready to go. But yeah, you head out and head back through the gates and into the main part of the city. And yeah, it's a nice walk. It probably takes a little longer to get there than it took you to get to Eleni's house because you don't have a cart anymore. But it's pleasant. The street's pretty warm. There's not a ton of people walking around. Everything's pretty quiet. And yeah, most of the trees out here are pine trees. So there's not even like you look up and there's still foliage basically. You don't have a clear view of the sky because the trees still have stuff on them and there's no leaves covering the ground the way there is in the like southern Zemni Fields area that you were in before. Okay, so you all a little bit nervous finally arrive at a very familiar little street for Atacora. And yeah, you arrive at a beautiful little wooden house that has like it has a one floor sort of dwelling on the bottom that probably has like multiple rooms and it's got a chimney and stuff for a fire, a stone chimney. There's a little tiny like not quite big enough to be a real archery range, but there's like a target out in the back, kind of. There's like it's like a place where your mom taught you to shoot and throw knives and stuff.
That's so
There's
cute.
there's a little pen with like chickens and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a chicken house. There's an herb garden. And yeah, and then there's a sort of covered staircase that winds up around the trunk of the tree that the house is built at the base of, and it goes up into like the lower branches, which are pretty low. It's not too high up. And there's another little sort of tree house in there, where your dad used to spend most of his time when he was writing. But yeah, you don't see anyone around the house, but it does. There is smoke coming from the chimney,
Okay.
so
So hopefully she's not on patrol right now. Are you all coming up to the door with me, or are we doing like I guess in world there's no word for the Hobbit dwarves maneuver.
everyone knocks on the door separately.
Who could that be?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm just waiting
come
for a
with
few
me.
friends.
Yeah. I'll come with, but if you expect me to talk, you're gonna be sorely mistaken.
Ophelia, I never expect you to talk.
Thank you.
I mean, you should probably say hi. She's my mom, and it would be rude if you didn't say hi.
I guess I can do that. Maybe we just pretend we're not friends and then we go our separate. Oh, wait, I want the bed.
I could tell her that you're, what was it? Related to the Ruby of the Sea and you want preferential treatment. And that gets.
No. Did I say that?
You did.
Ah, shit.
I think you told Eleni that you were related to the Ruby of the Sea.
And also that you were royalty.
Oh yeah. And Adakor, you also know, like, you hadn't heard of the Ruby of the Sea until you left Visayas Teal. Like, your mom probably doesn't know who that is.
Well, I'm not exactly expecting Ophelia to go, yeah,
I know.
let's go with that plan.
I know. It's just an extra funny. Polydor would be like, who?
Yeah, there's no need to go that far. Alright, I'll reveal my heritage when I deem it necessary and fit.
All right, princess.
I'll kill you.
God, I'm having, like, Han and Leia flashbacks.
I was thinking, like, excuse me, princess. Yeah.
God.
All right, I knock.
Okay, you knock at the door. Antimony, are you up there with them too?
Suppose I am.
Okay. Yes, Sahara's there. She's just like hanging back in the back of the group, you know, like trying not to tower over the two girls.